Hi everyone, good evening. So we are doing our Friday expert talk series and I have a very special guest today who will be joining in a quick, short time as the expert for today's expert session. And before I really introduce this expert, just two important things I want to announce. One is कि progress form please भरो, जो participants हैं इस project के please fill up the progress forms. फॉर्म के जो लिंक है वो मेरे प्रोफाइल के बायो में है, इंस्टाग्राम प्रोफाइल के बायो में है, एंड स्टोरीज में भी वी आर शेयरिंग द फॉर्म लिंक, सो प्लीज गो एंड fill out your progress forms. And the second announcement is this, that Dr. Zeenal is joining us. So I'm sure you have all these questions for her. But questions जो है नीचे एक question mark का icon है Instagram पे on the right side. Please use that and write all your questions over there so that I can take all the questions for you and Dr. Zeenal of course can answer it. Okay, so I'll just go ahead introducing this really dynamic young woman, Dr. Zeenal Shah. She's a lactation consultant and she is like one of the first few lactation consultants that we had in Mumbai, and she has been so passionate about her work that she actually went ahead and created a post of a lactation consultant in the Hinduja hospital in Mumbai. She's been working with BPNI, which is Breastfeeding Promotion Network of India in Maharashtra, and she has done several workshops with UNICEF as well. And her zeal, her passion is about helping all these mothers achieve breastfeeding, help them in their journey. And I am just so happy and thrilled to have her here as an expert. And why we should be having her as an expert is something that lactation is important, why breastfeeding is important, is something that I discussed yesterday at length in yesterday's live. And if you have any questions, then we have Dr. Zeenal Shah here. Dr. Zeenal, so
Hello.
happy to have you here.
Yeah, hi, good evening, Munmun. It's a pleasure. Pleasure is mutual. I'm really so happy to be here. I am seeing the good work which you are doing, and I'm sure a lot of mothers are going to benefit from this also, what we are going to talk today.
Thank you so much for being a part of this project. And I'm sure like you are going to share some really good wisdom for all of us, for all the mothers who can benefit. Okay, I'm just going to steady my camera. Something wrong? Okay, fine. Okay, so Dr. Zeenal, so before I start, putting up all the questions, I really want to know one thing, that this job of a lactation consultant is not something that a lot of people are aware of.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, I meet a lot of these clients in my day-to-day life, young mothers, new mothers. A lot of myths are there, of course, when it comes to breastfeeding. A lot of myths are there. But they don't even have this idea that there is an expert out there who can actually handhold them and walk this journey and help. So what do you think, like working for so many years, has there been any kind of awareness? Like what do you think, like has the scenario
So to be very honest with you, Munmun, I am basically a qualified doctor and a pediatrician. I'm a gold medalist, okay? And I still practice some amount of pediatrics. But when I was doing my pediatric practice, I realized that there is not enough help which is provided to mothers in lactation. Because when I used to go to attend deliveries, I saw, cow's milk was given. Sometimes even goat's milk was given, water used to be given. Earlier, I'm talking years back, like 20 years back, people used to give a lot of bottle feeding cow, and also, people used to give glucose pani, honey ka pani. In our culture, there is something called as gadundi, where they used to mix honey with water and give the baby. So I saw a lot of wrong practices, and I decided that I want to do something in this field. And I always wanted to do something different, So, so I, along with BPNI Maharashtra, few of us doctors decided that we realized and we researched that there are a lot of lactation consultants all over the world. There were more than 25,000. Then why there were not anybody in India? And that is when we started this journey. And yes, the journey has been very fulfilling. And I think that from the time when I started, initiation of breastfeeding was never done. So never the babies were put to babies, there's something called as breast crawl, if you're aware of. The baby is just allowed to crawl its way and go to the breast. So that initiation was never done. Breast crawl was never done. So I'm very happy to say that I've helped more than 10,000 mothers do that. So I think the first milk which should be given to the baby is mother's milk. But I unfortunately, I still feel there are a lot of hospitals which do not give breast milk, which just trade the pediatricians writes the formula, or the pediatrician writes that, okay, your baby is not getting enough, and just accept it. So I think there is a long way to go still to bring that change, that we tell mothers and we tell doctors that yes, exclusive breastfeeding is very much possible and you can actually do it. So I think I have really been striving for it in every patient, every doctor, that please at least let the mother do it. And you know what, Munmun, also I feel is that social media is a double-edged sword. So what has happened is, instead of taking the good points, people also take up the bad points from social media, and they read Google, which half of the time gives wrong information or gives incomplete information. And that information leads a mother to believe that she doesn't have milk, and she goes and opts out for formula.
So that brings me to actually, my question, that a lot of mothers feel that, breast milk is something that not all mothers can produce.
Absolutely.
She's too thin, she's too fragile. Like, I'm talking about a mother. Are breast itne chote hain, how is she going to, so actually these things are there. I'm a mother too, and I have like proudly, breastfed my child for
That's
long years.
amazing. That's amazing. Yeah.
A lot of services myself, like family, because they were not kind of understanding enough, I should say. But whatever, it's not like my personal journey that I want to discuss. But yes,
Yeah.
so many myths out there where people feel that it's not for every mother. Her maa nahi produce kar sakti hai. It's for selected mothers. So what do you feel? Like breastfeeding a gift, a nature's gift only to selected women, or is it for just like those can produce breast milk?
So
Like good enough.
the first myth about the size, let me tell you, size doesn't matter. Any breast, whether it is small or whether it is big. I mean, you are talking of small breast. I've also had grandmothers who come and tell me, अरे इसके तो breast कितने बड़े हैं, इसको तो दूध कहाँ से आएगा? मतलब they also feel कि बहुत बड़े हैं तो breast बच्चा पकड़ ही नहीं सकता है. So I think it's both ways. Okay. So let me tell you, size does not matter. Okay. Every breast, okay, has 8 to 10 ducts and 8 to 10 lobules. So irrespective of anything, you can breastfeed your baby. Also, a lot of people, and has been told in the antenatal period only that अरे तेरे तो nipples बहुत छोटे हैं, yeah, your nipples are, you have inverted nipples, you have flat nipples, you won't be able to breastfeed. So I feel somewhere the confidence of the woman has been broken by her people around her, or maybe the social media, where she feels that she's not capable enough to breastfeed. So I think here the journey has to start from the time either you are before pregnant or pregnant, that you tell yourself, yesterday only I was reading your book and you mentioned about resilience, and I love it so much that, and you know what, Munmun, I really relate to your story. Okay, at a later date I'll tell you. Yeah. So resilience is something which should come from within. Okay, that I want to breastfeed my baby. That's it. I mean, there's no great rocket science about it. You have to do it. You have to do it. I mean, why should there be options, or why should you be selecting shortcuts? So every woman can breastfeed. And coming to the supply, 95% of the time, women don't think that they are not producing enough because of only one reason, and that is stress. Stress. Okay. So there are some psychological issues, in-laws issues, or there's maybe probably the woman is not getting enough rest, or she's there are a lot of helicopter parenting happening around. I think all of you all know what I mean. You are getting too obsessed and too possessed with small things, and you're not enjoying your motherhood, and because of that, you're actually not, you're focusing on what you're supposed to focus, and you're focusing on the wrong things. So if stress is eliminated and worry is eliminated, and if a woman per se becomes happy and she enjoys her motherhood, I think nothing in this world can stop her from exclusively breastfeeding. Okay, so 95%, this is the reason. Only 5%, there could be some hormonal issues, or there could be some reason because of which the mother's hormones are not at the optimum level to make enough milk. But for that also, we have supplements available. And like we play a very important role in that as lactation consultants. We counsel that mothers. I feel the way you counsel your clients, I think the right support system from family, from husband, and the right counseling. So even if a woman who's not producing enough milk can produce enough milk, it's all about the right support.
Okay, yeah, brilliantly said. So to summarize, what it means is that हर औरत अपने बच्चे को दूध पिलाने की capacity रखती है. It is not selective thing कि भगवान ने एक को चुना है कि भाई आप पिलाओ, दूसरे को formula मिलना चाहिए. It is not dependent on any size of breast or anything. What is important is that you stay worry free. because then of course it enhances the milk production. And if other than that there is any other physiological reason जिसके वजह से milk production कम है, which also is something that you see in like say 5%, like you said. But then also there are people like you, like I am there, like basically nutrition, hand holding with experts is something that is going to help.
Absolutely.
Something that you really said very well is something that, you know, so guys, there's this question that has come up. I really request if you can use the question icon because I'm all alone today. My office is working out off site and I will not be able to scroll through the question. So it's a request, please put it on the icon. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that, you know, like my teacher, like my Gita teacher, my Bhagavad Gita teacher says that worry and care, these are two things. Worry is a negative emotion, care is a positive emotion.
Absolutely.
So you care for your child, don't worry for your child.
Yes, it's so well said.
So if you care for your child, automatically you're going to look for good support. You're going to look for nutrition. You're going to look for support. You're not going to look for shortcuts. You will understand that I should sleep well. I should not worry. I should be in a happy state. That is care. Worry is when you're just all over the place and all you're doing is worry, which is leading nowhere.
See, it is overwhelming when you have a baby. It is overwhelming, okay? But then if you are mentally prepared, I tell all parents that if you know this journey, if you know that when you're going to deliver, you're going to have pain. If you know that when you're going to breastfeed, you know, your schedule is going to go upset. Like a lot of mothers don't get time to even eat food. At times, they don't even get time to look into the mirror or how am I looking. But that's fine as long as you enjoy that journey. So I think the more acceptance is required, and second thing is very, very important, no, according to me, Munmun, is that these mothers, okay, they don't give themselves and goals. Like, you know, there's something which you say for goal setting. Even when you talk of weight loss or you talk of anything, there's always a goal which you put into it. So the goal has to be that I want to breastfeed my baby. I don't know why, but mothers in today's generation are deviating from that goal. And that is where I think more of the problems are starting in. So I think our mothers, our ancestors, they exclusively breastfed us. And I think, see, at that age, we were 3, 4, 5 siblings. Our moms used to do all the household chores. She used to do all the bartan, kapda, take care of 3 or 4 children. And they never complained and they were exclusively breastfeeding. So why is it now that with so much of support system, we have maids and we have cooks and we have drivers and we have servants and still we are not able to do it? So I think it's all about putting your mind into it that I can do it and I should do it.
Yeah. And also, I do understand that there are women who don't have a good support system also. There are women who are in a bad marriage or simply not having a great support system. I do understand that. But having said that, when you become a mother, you just got to do what you got to do. If
Absolutely.
you have a good support, you are blessed. Support. Delegate work, you know, take help of experts. And if you do not have good support, then also kind of just accept it, because in any case you cannot not breastfeed your child. I mean, this is not an option, like you said.
See, there is, yeah. So actually, I tell all mothers that this is your journey, okay? We can only be a part of your journey. So how you want to go about this journey, we are with you. Okay, whatever your journey is, as you said very correctly, everybody's situation is different, circumstances are different. Yes, for that only we are here. So that we help you out, remove the best possible solution. Now, why every mother needs to understand that is, that breastfeeding is good for your baby. Now, if you see, I'm sorry to use this example, even if you cross signals, you will see women who are breastfeeding their babies and in their jholas, right? They don't have option of formula because they can't afford it. Now, that mother is producing milk even though she is not having shatavari or she is not having methi or probably she is not having anything else. She's drinking normal roti, sukha roti, and that also she's producing. So, milk production is in your mind. Okay, if you decide, you will get it. And the more you feed the baby, the more the body produces milk. So you have to tell that yourself that yes, I'm going to make enough milk.
Yeah. And actually, breastfeeding is good for the mother's health also. But that's a different topic. Let us not dilute the topic here.
Yeah. True.
But my second question is कि एक तो बोलते हैं कि भाई माँ दूध नहीं बना रही है, which we have discussed, which we have covered. The other is when people say that, you know, इसका पेट नहीं भर रहा है. You know, the child is a big baby. He's like the baby is like a big baby who is born. या फिर बहुत रोता है. The child is cranky throughout the day. And definitely इसका पेट ही नहीं भर रहा है. And you know, because of whatever reason, then the mother is at times forced or maybe voluntarily she either start the formula feed or even the supplementary solid feeding which is there. वो 6 महीने का जो एक time होता है that you start it after 6 months. The mother usually then starts feeding khichdi or
Early.
whatever
Yes.
earlier.
Dal ka
So
pani.
yeah. So that also is one of the things. So do you think that there are certain indicators that a mother can check कि भाई ये indicators हैं ये अगर अगर ये indicators सही हैं that means my baby is being well fed. I don't have anything to stress about. Maybe then the child is crying for some other reason. उसका पेट तो भर रहा
Yes.
है. These are the indicators that I can do a checklist.
Yes.
So can you tell
Yes,
us
sure.
about that?
So this is a very good question, Munmun, and very important for all breastfeeding mothers because I think most of them ask me these questions, you know. So I think this is something which they all should know and every woman should know. So first 7 days is like a roller coaster ride for a mother because she's delivered, her body is in pain. You know, the milk which is there in the first 2-3 days is colostrum. So colostrum is not that much visible to naked eye. Okay, probably it's a thick yellow liquid. So I think that is where the mothers start, you know, and the relatives are देखो तो दूध दिख नहीं रहा है. Somebody will come, even the nurses for that matter will come and press on the breast and say, "अरे दूध दिख नहीं रहा, दूध दिख नहीं रहा." So that is where the negative psychology starts, and the mother starts feeling, "Oh, I don't have enough milk." So knowing this, that the milk is going to be very minimum in the first 2-3 days, but it is enough for the baby because the baby's stomach capacity is also very tiny. It's like the size of a tennis ball. So baby can't take more than 5 ml anyways. So the capacity of the baby is, yes, the capacity of the baby is very less, and that is why nature hasn't given you enough milk. But colostrum is like your first vaccination of your baby. That is going to make your baby very strong and you need to do it. So if you know as a mother that, okay, first 2-3 days, I'm not going to see much of milk. When the letdown happens, letdown by what I mean by letdown is suddenly the breast becomes very full because it's a hormonal shift in the body, lactogenesis happens. And suddenly the mother gets engorged. You must have seen a lot of mothers who suddenly feel hard like a rock. So if you have breastfed nicely in the first 2-3 days, you will not get engorged on day 4. But if you don't breastfeed in the first 2-3 days, thinking कि मुझे दूध ही नहीं है, you are going to get engorged on day 4. So this is where first 7 days play a very crucial role in how you are breastfeeding a baby. Now, first 7 days, it is very difficult for you to gauge what is happening because it's like, you know, you're going for a driving class or you're going for some classes where you're suddenly cooking something without you knowing what's happening, right? So it's a learning phase. So it's a learning phase for you, learning phase for the baby. Both of you need to spend enough time with each other, give a lot of skin to skin contact to the baby, and keep putting the baby to breast whenever the baby asks or how much ever you can. So minimum what we say is in a day 8 times. You can do anywhere more than 8 times also, but you can't do less than 8 times. So first 7 days babies lose weight, then they start gaining weight. And first 7 days, you know, there are a lot of things which are going on in the hospital when you go home. After 7 days, okay, once you're back home, once you're mentally relaxed, how will you gauge that you're making enough milk? Okay, the most important thing is the look of the baby's face. If my stomach is full, how do I look? Happy. Yeah. If I'm not happy, if I'm not full, baby's going to be irritated, cranky, frowning. You know, the baby will look sad. Okay, so that look of the baby should tell you. So I feel emotions play a very important role. If the baby is happy, that will be visible all over the baby's face. Second is...
No, Dr. Zinal, I'll interrupt, but that is what I've seen in many clients, like with many clients, like they struggle because they come back and tell me, यार mother-in-law बोल रही है कि बच्चा रोता है तो तुम्हारा दूध enough नहीं है, पेट नहीं भरा।
Yes. So second thing is the weight gain. Yes. So that is where the other indicators come into role. Second is the weight gain. Okay. So the baby's weight gain. All babies lose some amount of weight and then they start gaining weight. So if your baby is gaining enough weight, by enough weight I mean approximately 20 to 30 grams per day, so that the pediatrician will tell you whether the baby is gaining weight or no. That means you're doing a great job. Third is the pee count, urine output. So after 7 days, the baby should be passing minimum 8 times urine. Okay, so if your baby is peeing enough, if your baby is pooping enough, if your baby is gaining weight, if your baby looks happy, that means you're doing a great job. Okay, now coming to the crying. Now the baby could be crying because of a lot of other reasons. In our culture, what happens is, what a lot of mother-in-laws believe कि बच्चे को बार-बार उठाना नहीं चाहिए because बच्चे को आदत लग जाएगी. So what they do is they keep the baby alone, unattended, either on the bed or in the cradle or on the crib, where the baby misses that touch. Now baby, when they are new to this world, they want to be held, they want to be you know, cuddled up. So the moment they cuddle up, the baby is quiet. So I think here there is another myth that which we need to be taking care of, that if the baby needs skin to skin contact, if your baby needs to be held, so every time your baby cries need not be that the baby is hungry. You know, the crying hunger is very different cry. The baby will have a, so if you spend more time with the baby, you will understand that the crying, the baby hunger cry is different, the susu cry is different, the potty cry is different, and the colic cry is different. So I think the mothers who are already listening to me, they will understand. Like, you know, you have had mothers who look at the baby's face and say, अरे ये तो भी potty करने वाला है, you will say, अरे इसको कैसे पता चल गया, right? वो पता चल जाता है. Yes. So the more time you spend with your baby. So here also, I somewhere feel that that concept of having only jhapas or having only nannies, I don't believe much in it because I'm very conservative. I feel you spend time with your baby. The more time you're going to spend with your baby, if you do on demand, exclusive breastfeeding, you don't need nannies, you don't need jhapas because half of your stress is gone. You don't have to pump, you don't have to sterilize the bottle. It's just you, baby, and you need a dupatta and you're done wherever you are.
Yeah.
It makes your life
Actually,
so much simpler.
yeah, I remember my daughter is 13 now, so I'm talking like 13 साल पहले की बात है. So it's a long time for me, but I remember very distinctly that even in the middle of the night, for me it was much easier to just hold her and just breastfeed her. And I used
Absolutely.
to always wonder because my friends used to like bottle feed in the middle of the night, and I was like, oh God, उठो bottle लो उसमें
Yeah.
डालो बताओ ऐसे पकड़ के पिलाओ. I mean, I used to be almost in sleep when I used to be feeding her in the night.
Yes, and that is how it is. That's the best thing to do.
Yeah, it becomes like such an autopilot process. कि वो, I know कि she wants it now, and I used to just get her close to myself, and she used to just latch on it and have it, and I used to be almost in sleep.
And she'll
And
also sleep off after drinking. वो भी पी के सो जाएगी. You know, it's like very easy. Yeah.
even like outside because I have been like, so when I became a mother, I was still working. So I was working in a hospital at that time. So I remember I used to carry her to the hospital.
Wow.
Between, of course, I've had help. I will not deny. I had these nurses and assistants and everybody that the hospital had provided me with. But whenever I was like between my appointments, the nurse used to get the baby and I used to feed, and then again I used to put her on her cot, and so that is how I continued for 2 years, along with
Hats
working
off
and
to you. Wow.
feeding.
Great.
But of course, like there are times I do understand that there are times that people are not quite, do not have a support system in some way or the other. But what I did, the aim of the session was to make you guys understand that there is support available. We have people like Dr. Zenal, so go ahead and take some support if there is anything which is lacking. But breastfeeding is something which is very important for the child, for your own health, and you got to actually, take efforts towards it if it's not, happening. So, Dr. Zenal, so my question was basically कि जब ये बोलते हैं कि बच्चा रो रहा है, like we explained, it may not be only because उसका पेट नहीं भर रहा है. But can there be a possibility कि a mother is feeding but उसका पेट नहीं भर रहा हो? In genuinely, can there be a possibility?
Yes, there is a possibility when a lot of times, no, the whether the baby is satisfied or not, whether the baby is getting enough milk or no, depends on the latch. So I think here what matters is, suppose if this is the breast and this is the baby, okay, the baby is drinking, but how much milk transfer is happening, no, it's very subjective because nobody in this world can measure mother's milk. Now also, if the latch is maybe shallow, or if the baby has some restriction of the movement of the tongue, or if there is something else where the palate is not placed properly, or if the baby is having some muscle issues, or the baby is premature, there could be a variety of other reasons where probably baby is not able to suck out milk from the mother's breast. So in that situation, what happens is the negative suction formation over here doesn't happen, and because of that the baby doesn't gain weight and the milk transfer is not happening. So and the mother perceives that the baby has drank, but the baby has not drank enough, and the baby is still hungry. So that is something which every mother should focus on, is their latch. Now there are a lot of videos available from good websites. If you want, I can definitely share the good resources with you, where a mother can see whether her latch is correct or no, and obviously they can share it with us. I think COVID has taught us a lot of Zoom and lot of online consulting. Now I have patients all across the world for breastfeeding who have scheduled timings, because on video everything can be done now. Okay, so you can ask for help, and there are a lot of lactation consultants. I would be really proud to say that now, at least in Mumbai, all the big hospitals, there are lactation consultants. Like BPRI Maharashtra lactation consultants have been placed in almost all the hospitals in Mumbai, whether it is nursing homes or whether it is big hospitals. So I think very, very important here is that, yes, if you feel that the baby is not gaining weight, or the baby is crying for no rhyme and no reason, or the baby looks very shrunken, or the baby looks tiny, and the baby doesn't look like a happy baby, there could be a possibility. Then please take help, and you need to correct your latch, and you need to increase your supply. Some mothers, as I said, also deal with low milk supply. So then you just need to address these issues. And in these kind of mothers, no, also what really helps is pumping. Then you can invest into a pump, and you can pump milk and keep it. So also you psychologically feel I have milk. Okay, so if you have pumped 50-60 ml, you know that for the next feed of your baby, you have enough milk. There are a lot of working mothers also, Munmun, who probably opt for this, or who have, you know, some commitments where they can't be with the baby 24/7. So now there are technology available for breastfeeding. So please use the technology.
So in any case, guys, the point that we both are trying to make is that कुछ भी हो, resorting to formula feed is not the option. कोई तकलीफ है, then correct it, take care of your nutrition or take care of the latching technique, figure it out where you're going wrong. But कुछ अगर गलत हो रहा है, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि हम formula पे shift हो जाएं. उसका मतलब ये है कि we need to course correct, because that is what is, you know, the first duty I would say as a mother. I can go to that
Yes.
extent that the first duty as a mother is to really give breast milk to your child. Okay, the other question I have, Dr. Zini, for you is that a lot of people say कि you know, बहुत देर तक, बहुत सालों तक, मतलब बहुत महीनों तक, सालों तक तो नहीं, but बहुत महीनों तक, आप 1 साल तक अगर अपना दूध देते रहे, then you can't, or even 6 months for that matter, which is the norm, 6 months of exclusive breastfeeding. So then it becomes very difficult to wean the child. Then the child is not going to take to khichdi and is not going to take solid food, and the child is really going to trouble you so much. आदत डलवा दो. I hear this also very often. कि नहीं, bottle का अभी से आदत डलवा दो, नहीं तो bottle का आदत नहीं होगा. So you know, these kind of things कि आप बहुत परेशान हो जाओगे बाद में, ना तो वो खिचड़ी खाएगा, ना तो वो फिर bottle लेगा, and the child is constantly going to look after you and look for you. So what is it or is it a fact?
Now tell me one thing, if your baby is addicted to you, if your baby wants breast, what's wrong in it? I think they should be happy and proud about it, that my baby wants me. You are giving the best possible nutrition to your baby. Okay, a lot of parents also come and tell me, doctor, kuch multivitamin likh do. I'm like, mother's milk is the best multivitamin. The immunity of the child increases by the multivitamin. So if you understand this, that this is the tailor-made nutrition which nature has given you for your baby, which cannot be comparable to any formula, any khichdi, any nothing. So WHO recommendation is first 6 months only exclusive breastfeeding. That means do only mother's milk for 6 months. Once the baby is 6 months, you need to add complementary food to the baby. So it is not weaning, it is complementary feeding. That is, the food is going to complement mother's milk, and mother's milk continues and the food also continues. So here is the balance. I think it's about having a balance and not knocking off one. Like I have had mothers also who continuously only breastfeed till 10 months और कुछ नहीं देते हैं, or they have mothers who give only Cerelac and biscuits and then fruits, vegetables नहीं देते हैं. So I think here, there, where, you know, probably even you play a very important role, and even I, that you teach parents to bring that 6 to 12 months wala balance, where the enough amount of breast milk and enough amount of nutrition needs to go into the child for the baby's growth. So there is nothing like baad mein nahi chhukta hai. A baby needs it, baby loves it, give it to the baby, because you are traumatizing the baby by not giving it to the baby. Let me tell you, emotionally, psychologically, the baby feels left out, or the baby feels, why am I not being given this? What have I done? So I feel a lot of mothers should take this conscious decision of breastfeeding the baby till the baby wants. And there is nothing wrong about it. I have had parents who have breastfed for 5 years also. 5 years also. And also you can do tandem feeding. That means you can feed your elder and your younger one also at the same time. You know, if you have the second baby immediately, you can continue to, like, you can for some time stop breastfeeding, and again both of them can take. It is the best nutrition, and you're increasing your child's immunity. Yes, if you feel that it is becoming that, you know, every 1 hour the child is waking up in the night. Okay, so the sleep plays a very important role over here. So once the babies are 6 months, you need to focus that the child should sleep through the night, at least 5-6 hours. If that is not happening, that means you need help. That means either the nutrition, now why would a baby wake up in the night? Okay, so maybe the nutrition is not adequate. So then the nutrition plays a very important role. So I think if a baby is just wanting to suckle on to go off to sleep, or wo bolte na, all babies want some nasha, and that nasha is breast. Also, you have to decide whether you want to give that baby a breast as nasha, you want to give bottle as nasha, you want to give pacifier as nasha, you want to give jhula as nasha. You know, पहले के ज़माने में वो baby को ऐसे 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 rock करके सुलाते थे यार, उसके बिना बच्चा सोता नहीं था. So something you will have to give your baby. You have to decide what you want to give. And I feel breast is the best because it's available there. You know, one mother that day only posted a picture. She continued breastfeeding till 2.5, 3 years of age. After that, that child thought that this is my property and my toy. She used to paint on her mother's breast, and she used to, you know, do drawings on the mother's breast. And she's like, it's okay. There's nothing wrong about it. So let the baby feel that show more secure about breastfeeding rather than you traumatizing the baby कि अभी छुड़वा दो या तो bottle लगवा दो मत पिलाओ. You know, parents have made babies cries relentlessly कि अभी तुमको नहीं मिलेगा. अरे क्यों भाई, क्यों नहीं मिलेगा? So please don't do that. It's not right way of if you have to wean because of some other reasons, please take help from a specialist and then wean off, and don't just traumatize your baby by just suddenly weaning it off.
Yeah. But basically, there's nothing of that sort ki aadat karwana chahiye and all of those things. And yeah, so like my personal experience was very smooth in terms of, you know, starting complementary food or whatever it is. But also like a lot of people then say ki wo bottle nahi lega, which they often.
But bottle
then,
देना ही क्यों है?
exactly, it's my
Bottle,
point.
please don't choose bottle as an option. It's the worst plastic. You're actually, you know, putting plastics and you're putting pesticides into your baby by introducing silicone. We don't put silicone in our mouth, do we? So why do you want to give silicone to your baby? Please don't do it.
And that's what my point is, like, you know, like after 2 years, like when I just stopped breastfeeding, like my daughter, she straight away then I used to give her milk, like cow's milk. After 2 years I used to give her in the normal glass. Normal glass, you know,
best
katori.
to do, yes. Yeah.
I never had a bottle for her, in fact.
So also no, Munmun, we have for babies 0 to 6 months, there are different ways of breastfeeding other than giving express breast milk. Not necessary that you have to introduce a bottle. There's something called as Nifty cup, which is available online. It's like a small cup. Babies can drink through that cup, or even chota steel ka vati, which we get at the steel ka shop. Or you can use a syringe, or you can use a dropper. And there's something called as palada. You know that it's like a diya, Aladdin ka chirag. It's pointed, then it's round, and then it has a handle. I think all of us have one in our house. You know, it is used to give medicines. You can just elevate the baby's head and give with that. So there are different options available. You don't have to choose bottle as an option. Don't give that addiction to your baby. And बाद में वो छुड़वाने के लिए आपको और मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, कोई ये नहीं बोलता कि बॉटल की आदत हो जाएगी.
True.
The good point that you said, like using the katori, the different spoon or a dropper. But of course, like if you can feed directly on your breast, nothing like that. I mean, that's the best.
Absolutely.
Contact which is there. You pass a lot of microbes to the child. You know, so a lot of good things happen in that process. But of course, as I said, we live in a real world जहाँ पे हर बार possible शायद नहीं हो सकते ये.
Yes, true.
So then there are these options that Dr. Zinal spoke about. Dr. Zinal, before I wrap up, I want to ask you a question. A lot of women, young girls who are like, you know, new mothers, they walk into my office, and of course it's a new experience for them, right? I mean, they have been wearing all kinds of, you know, sexy, gorgeous clothes, and then they become a mother, and then there's a change in their physical body, of course, which can be overwhelming for many girls. Which I totally understand, because, you know, there's a complete reversal of roles and everything. Many a times girls become pregnant when they're not even expecting, so probably mentally they're not even able to accept it. So question to you is this: there's a lot of myths also about how breastfeeding is going to change the way their breast would start looking. So a lot of these mothers, they come to me and say, you know, but will my breast start sagging? But you know, they'll become too big. I don't want that. So, you know, how will it look? So what do you think? That breastfeeding has got to do something with the aesthetics of the breast?
So yeah, this is definitely a myth that breast will start sagging. Yes, the shape of the breast will change when it is making milk. It is going to look, you know, it might droop down, it might look heavy. But as soon as you stop breastfeeding, in 3 to 6 months, the breast come down to its previous size, or depends on what exercise and what routine also you are choosing. Okay, that will also decide how the breasts are and what kind of bra you are wearing later. So breastfeeding per se does not make the breast sag or does not make the breast lose its shape. So I think that is a myth which we all need to understand. And I think we all have stretch marks. We all have had babies, and somewhere we need to honor our body, and somewhere we need to accept ourselves. And I think when you accept yourself, I think we have seen all celebrities and probably even you and everybody who have just come back to the previous shape. And I think after breastfeeding also, they said their breasts don't look that way. So I think they should set that kind of an example, and you should get inspired by that rather than, you know, looking at the negative aspect of breastfeeding. You don't know what you are investing in your baby by breastfeeding, by the way. You are the baby's base is the getting stronger. You are creating a good future. You know, when you read about the disadvantages of a formula, or when you read about cow's milk, you will realize what trauma, you speak about gut microbiome, right? So one formula can completely ruin the baby's gut microbe. And that gut microbe being damaged is going to take weeks to recover. So I think when we understand that, okay, we will not even think these questions, will not even cross your mind to feel that, you know, will I have sagging, or will I? And when you breastfeed, you lose approximately 500 calories in a day. I think no gymming, you can use 500 calories in a day, right? So 24/7 breastfeeding. I have had models and celebrities at 3.5, 4 months who have come back to the pre-pregnancy weight with a flat tummy only by breastfeeding.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, you know, just to add up, breasts is only, you know, the size of the breast is only dependent on the body fat.
Yes.
You know, you start losing weight, which will happen gradually. You don't have to be in a rush. The moment you deliver, you don't have to get back to your shape immediately. Let it happen gradually. And gradually, जैसे जैसे आपके body का fat कम होगा, वैसे वैसे the breast will also get back to its original shape and size.
Yes, true.
As far as sagging is concerned, you have your you know, chest muscles, the pectoralis that is there. If you strength train, if you do yoga or any kind of nice strengthening exercise, the chest muscles are going to strengthen up, and they are always going to hold up the
Yes,
no matter what your age is, and no matter whether you're breastfeeding or not breastfeeding. So it
true
again
that.
is about good lifestyle and not really dependent on breastfeeding per se.
True that.
I'll just take the questions that I have, Dr. Zinu. So somebody is asking, does Sharvari help? If yes, how much to have during lactation, and any brand you recommend?
Shatavari, you mean? Yeah. So I think it means Shatavari. Yeah. So Shatavari has been used for generations, and our ancestors also used it. It does work as a galactagogue, and it basically helps to increase the milk producing hormones. You can definitely have it, but now there are a lot of commercial versions available which have sugar. So I would suggest that whichever brand you buy, see to it that there is no sugar. The best way of having Shatavari is bringing actually the dandas and the you know, the raw form of it from an Ayurvedic shop and having it, and boil it in water and have it, because that has the best properties. Because the moment it gets commercialized and moments it is processed, it loses its effectiveness. So most important also, as a galactagogue, I have feel what work is water. Hydration. I think even you as a nutritionist do talk about water. When you are dehydrated, you don't produce milk. So it's like when you are marathoning, or when you're running, or when you're exercising, you want water. Same way, when you breastfeed, you see to it that your body is well hydrated. So I tell all breastfeeding mothers that see to it that you have at least 8 glasses of fluid beyond your water. मतलब fluid, I don't mean you know, you can have jeera ka pani, ajwain ka pani, you can have fresh fruit juices, you can have vegetable juices, you can have any form, moringa water, whatever you feel like having, but that should give you energy. Don't have aerated drinks and tea, coffee, but just hydrate. So whenever you're breastfeeding, have more of liquids, and that definitely helps you in increasing the milk supply.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody has asked about after 4 months, like when the child is 4 months, then can we feed the child with a spoon?
Yes, definitely you should. In fact, that's the very best thing, because later when you start doing baby-led feeding, or when you start introducing purees and soups and all, you will need to keep the spoon handy. So yes, you can feed the baby after 4 months, but milk, mother's milk, not anything else.
Yeah. So basically spoon is fine, and they, of course, do they need to you know, sterilize the spoon, or
So
how?
you can just sterilize in warm water, because spoons are easy. Any which ways, when you use little you know, soap, it is done, and once you dry the spoon, I think all the germs just disappear. So you don't need to be very fanatic about sterilization.
One question here that I can read is a person is asking, any tips on breastfeeding?
So yeah, most important tip is be happy, enjoy your motherhood. Don't get into that stress zone, and don't get overwhelmed with too much happening, because there are a lot of mothers who go through postpartum blues and postpartum depression. So your mental state of mind decides everything. So please keep your mental state in the right place. Be happy to whatever you can, and everything will fall in place. Second, please take help whenever you need help. Okay, and take the and read the right things from the internet. Don't get carried away by what others are doing and what, you know. So I think somewhere Instagram, or maybe even for that matter Facebook, or any of these social medias, people get over, अच्छा मैं तो घर पे बैठ के breastfeeding कर रही हूँ, मेरी friend तो जाके holiday करके आई, you know, and that comparison comes in, you know. So I think that is something which shouldn't bother you. You have to prioritize what is important for you at that particular time. Okay. Like I have had mothers who called me on day 9 of their delivery, and they said, "Doctor, I can't live without alcohol. What do I do?" So you have to prioritize when you deliver a baby what is right. And I tell her that, okay, you want to have it, you express it and have it. So there's solution to everything. But you need to give priority to breastfeeding and your baby.
Great. I think this is basically, giving priorities, also making that mental shift, understanding, what is important, what you got
Yeah.
to do. Uh, you know, uh, Again, I would just quote Gita, like what I learned from my teacher. These are not my statements, but he always says that, Krishna has said that you should not do what you like. You only have to do what is right. So,
Wow.
that is where I always think about this line from Krishna, and I make decisions in my life, and it really solves a lot of issues. Because if you really drift away from, what you like and not like, and only think of what is right, it really solves a lot of the matter as far as taking this.
I would use this also. I will tell your teacher I'm going to steal this statement from her, and I will also use this to tell all mothers.
Yeah, this is something that goes well. कि जो करना है, जो सही है, जो duty है वो करो. Of course, it's not a very easy job to constantly look after and nurture a life, but if we have decided to do so, like bring a life, then let's do it well. Okay.
Yes.
So on that note, thank you so much,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Shah, for joining and for just giving out all your knowledge and wisdom. It was lovely chatting with you, and anybody who would want to, connect with you, I'm sharing her Instagram handle on
Sure.
my page. So you can DM her, you can, get in touch with her, her number, her email, everything is there on her page. So do make use, because we have such good experts who are there to help us. So, and again, a very important thing कि भाई ये सिर्फ mothers के लिए नहीं है, fathers also please buck up. It's just not about mothers. I think it's a joint effort. Bringing up a child, there's a proverb ki, it takes a village to bring up a child. So forget a village, let's just get your family together. Mother, father, in-laws, parents, whoever are there, siblings, please, hold the hand of the mother and help her out. Let us not leave her alone, because it has to be a joint effort. So, let's not leave everything onto her and overwhelm her, because ultimately, the child is going to suffer then.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Dina.
Thank
Great
you.
having
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for your kind time, and all the best to all the mothers who are going through this journey. Thank you.